In 1995, a college student disappeared on a trip across the USA.
I reported him missing right away, but they wouldn't take it.
So his mother started investigating.
I got the case file. I started going through and saw people that wasn't interviewed.
I joined this mother's search for justice.
Are you recording us?
I am, yeah. Someone Knows Something, Season 6. Available now.
This is a CBC podcast.
Deep generational wounds have been opened yet again in this country. Survivors, those who love them, and many more Canadians are grieving this week after the Tk'emlúps te Secwépemc First Nation announced a preliminary report shows the remains of 215 children unmarked on the site of the former Kamloops Indian Residential School. Dennis Saddleman attended that same school for 11 years beginning in 1957. And the news wasn't easy for him to process, but he has been reaching out, connecting with friends, and continuing the work he started as a child to heal and stay, in his words, in balance. Part of that is through his poetry. You might have heard his voice on this show earlier this week, reading his powerful poem Monster about his experience at residential school. Dennis's mother was Nuk'utmuk. His father was Syilx, and Dennis Saddleman is with me from Merritt, British Columbia. And please note that some of what we are about to talk about may be distressing for some listeners. Dennis, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I feel a little bit rested up now there. It was pretty tiring and pretty shook up there. I had to remind myself to look after myself there, with all that power and energy I've been using. So I make sure I eat and I drink water and I smudge and I wash myself, sir, asking the water spirits to help me. So that's what I've been doing.
When you heard this news that came out of Kamloops, why was it important for you to go there, to gather with other survivors there?
Well, that school there was like it was a part of my life. I felt so sad and everything there, and I wanted to hug every one of those children, and I was thankful to the ancestors, and I was thankful to myself there that I survived, and there's a time in there that I came pretty close to death one time. They had a swimming pool there in front of the old building there. And the supervisor says, everybody there, get ready, got to go swimming. This is like my first few weeks at the resident school there, so I didn't know how to swim, so I laid on the grass there near the swimming pool. I was enjoying the sun. And next thing, the supervisor came along there and he grabbed me and he lifted me up. He had my swimming trunks there and brought me to the swimming pool and he threw me in the deepest part. And I just remember kicking, and I remember the white waters and the bubbles and the water. They're making that swirling and twirling sound in my ear, and I was sinking, and I blacked out and I come to, and someone was pushing on my chest there, and I opened my eyes there, and there's an older boy, and he says, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm okay." And then he got up and he walked away there, and it seemed like I never seen him again. And I was thinking to myself, there, I wonder if that was my angel that came from the ancestors, and I'm sure glad that I made it through that incident of drowning there. And, my grandpa there, he always taught me how to speak our language. He spoke to me every single day there in our language, the Nuk'utmuk language. So when I went to resident school there, I still had that language in my head there. Then we were going down by the pond, and I seen a snake crawling on the ground. Yeah, I got excited. I started running after that snake, and there's some boys near me, and I was speaking in our language there. Gwants that snake. It's me, look at the snake. And next thing I knew, somebody grabbed the back of my collar there, and I looked at it as a supervisor. He was angry. He had a really angry look there, and he slapped me in the head. And then he told me go back to the dormitory. That's our sleeping place, or So he told me to stand beside his door. And this was 10 o'clock in the morning. So I went back to the dormitory and stood by his door. Lunchtime went by, no lunch. I didn't have no supper. And then around about 8 o'clock at night, there was bedtime there. So all the kids come into the dormitory. He saw me stand by the door. He says, "Oh, yeah, I got a deal with you." So he sent one of the boys to go in the washroom there and go get a bar of soap. He told everybody else to stand around and watch my punishment there. And the supervisor, he grabbed the back of my head there with my hair, pulled it so my face would be facing up in the air. And then he put that bar of soap right in my mouth. And he just rubbed it, just rubbed it right into my teeth and into my tongue there. And I was gagging for air. And to this day, there, every time I see a bar of soap there, I can remember the taste and I can remember the flashback there. And
I'm so sorry for what you have been through. I mean, it's awful.
Yeah.
But you speak out about this. I know that you speak with students and you talk to others about what you went through. And it's incredibly difficult. And obviously only say what you're comfortable in saying. But why is it important for you to speak out about this and tell those stories?
I found out there's a lot of people there that never heard of the residence school before, especially from different nations, the non-natives, and our young people. I was thinking of our young people. There are a lot of them there. Maybe their parents or grandparents they're in silence, or they will not share their stories. I got to reach out to them there and tell them what the residence school is all about there, and show them the real picture there, what happened there to us there with the physical abuse and even our spiritual abuse. And it took me a long time to really say there that I was sexually abused. And when that happened there, my abuser told me to don't tell anybody about this. If you do, I know where your family lives, or I'm going to go over there and I'm going to hurt them. So about 2-3 days later there, I was really feeling dirty, really feeling ashamed, and I wanted to go and disappear. So I went down to the river and I stood beside the river, and the river was swift, the river was deep, and the river was dark, and I was standing there and I says, "Oh, river, if I jumped in, would you swallow me?" The river never said anything there. All it did was just flow and flow and flow. So I went back to the school there and just continued to suffer more and more. And then after my sexual abuse there, I thought, gee, maybe I'll try and tell somebody. So I went to the principal and I knocked on his door. He says, "Come in," and I went, and I told me to sit down. So I sat down and I told the school principal there, about my supervisor there. He sexually abused me. It happened in the dormitory, and the principal there, he just looked at me there and he says that I was telling lies there about a good man. So that made me feel real betrayed and abandoned there. So I walked away there, and I believed my sexual abuser there about nobody believing me. So I went into silence, and I was just going through struggles and shame and anger and rage. And I went home, and right away I drank and I did drugs there, and I was really bad. And I was going out in the street, staggering down the street there, and I sleep in the back alley, sleep beside the dumpster, and when I wake up, I eat my breakfast there at the dumpster there, eat my food there. I rather save all my money for a bottle. People there look at me there with disgust and looking at a drunken Indian on the sidewalk, and I was so so far down in the bottom of the bottle there, and I was at the bottom of a junk pile and took a knife and I stabbed myself there on my right cage, my rib cage, and I even took a rifle there and I put it under my chin. And
What was it that saved you? What was it that, I mean, you say you were at the bottom of the junk pile. What was it that pulled you out of that?
I see myself there like crawling towards an open grave and whatnot there, and crawling towards her. Then I said, well, I'm going to have to turn my life around, change my direction, change my path. And so it seems like I was grabbing a steering wheel and I was trying to turn my life, and I was grunting, come on, you can change. You can change. I didn't want to give the resident school the satisfaction that it killed me. I didn't want to give the satisfaction to my sexual abuser that he killed me. So I just put my foot down and I said, okay. So it was really, really, really hard. And funny when I got up on my feet there, I had to learn who I was. Then I realized all this hate, this rage, and the violence, it didn't belong to me. So when I went on my healing journey there, my supporters, my healers there, they helped me to give that hate, that rage, and that violence, my sexual abuse, all what I was carrying, give it back to the resident school. It didn't belong to me.
You can now listen to CBC podcasts and shows like this one on Amazon Music. Discover the hundreds of thousands of podcasts in our library. Plus, get access to exclusive Amazon originals. Follow your favorite podcasts across news, music, culture, true crime, and more, all for free. Just download the free Amazon Music app or ask Alexa to play your favorite show. Podcasts are now streaming on Amazon Music.
Can I ask you about poetry and what poetry has helped you do? I mean, I want to play a little bit of a poem that you wrote that we played the other day on the radio. But when you started writing poetry in that healing journey, what did it give you?
It was like a healing tool. I was able to reach into myself, to reach my inner child. And then I learned how to get connected with it. And I learned how to use words, because words, they can hurt or they can heal. Depends how you use it.
You read a poem for the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in 2013, and the poem is called Monster. And it's incredibly powerful. We played the poem earlier this week on the program, but I want to play a little bit of it now and just ask you a bit about it. This is your poem, Monster.
I hate you, residential school. I hate you. You're a monster. A huge, hungry monster built with steel bones, built with cement flesh. You're a monster built to devour innocent native children. You're a cold-hearted monster, cold as the cement floors. You have no love, no gentle atmosphere. Your ugly face grooved with red bricks. Your monster eyes glare from grimy windows. Monster eyes so evil. Monster eyes watching terrified children cower with shame. I hate you, residential school. I hate you. You're a slimy monster, oozing in the shadows of my past. Go away, leave me alone. You're following me wherever I go. You're in my dreams, in my memories. Go away, monster, go away. I hate you following me. I hate you, residential school. I hate you.
That's your poem, Monster, which, as I mentioned, was read at the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in 2013. When we played this week on the program, we had so many people who commented about how powerful it was. I just want to read one of the emails that we got. This comes from Rebecca Horn, who wrote from Charlottetown. As I turned on my car after dropping my children off at their daycare, Monster by Dennis Saddleman was playing on the current. Tears welled as Dennis Saddleman's voice painted a dark, ugly picture of a tortured child. The stark contrast of the happy, loving scene I had just experienced to that of a young child within the residential schools made the mother in me ache for those innocent children, broken and destroyed by those atrocities. How do you know when you have made a difference with the poetry that you write?
I remember I wrote that poem there about the year 2000. I'm talking about that huge red brick building. When I was standing in front there with my parents, or when I first arrived at the residence school when I was 6 years old, and I guess the reason why I thought it was a monster, we're standing there, and all of a sudden these double doors opened, and these black creatures came out. There's about 5 of them. They were all wearing black robes, and they looked like black creatures, and the face was pale and thin, and I got really scared. And they came out of those double doors, and that's when that word monster came into my head. And those black creatures, they dragged me through the double doors, and as soon as I went through those doors, I felt like that was it. The monster was eating me up. That's why I wrote that poem there. So it still shake me up there when you go back there, because it's like there's the presence of the spiritual children around there when you're walking by the building, or where you're walking on the lawn there. They seem like there's a presence somewhere that the children would be watching, or so it was a lot of praying and a lot of singing, and I just wanted to be there for those beautiful children there, pray, sing, and sometimes I see some people even dance.
I know that you've wrote a poem for us. This is something that you wrote this week after everything unfolded in the wake of that discovery there. Can you tell me a little bit about the poem before you read it?
I just wrote this, and I was thinking, what our people is going through right now, through all the hurt and the pain and the anger and the rage, and I was kind of hoping that I could reach out, and don't matter who you are, if you know me or don't know me, I want to be there to hug everybody, and to say to everybody that everybody's in my thoughts, you're in my prayers. I just want to say that you're not alone. We're all together in this, and we will rise and we'll stand together. So I wrote this one there. It's called The Drum Goes Bang. The drum goes bang. The bang goes everywhere. It's time to sing. It's time to pray. The drum goes bang. Bang, bang, bang. Join the circle, sacred circle. Bring your medicine. Bring your spirit. The drum goes bang. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. Dance for me. Dance for everyone. Dance, dance, dance. Dance, dance, dance. Ruffle your feathers. Move your moccasins. And keep the beat. Beat, beat, beat. Beat, beat, beat. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang.
It's Dennis Saddleman, and The Drum Goes Bang. This has been a really hard week for so many people, and for you, I know, and you talked about the hurt and the anger and the pain and the rage that people feel. How are you taking care of yourself?
I learned from my healing journey, and I learned from the elders, and when you're drinking water there, you just pray to the water there, the water spirits there, that when they enter you, they help cleanse you and help to give you the energy. And then if I had a choice, I can go up to a tree and hug a tree there, and the tree can take all my emotions, my hurts and whatever, and the tree will bring it back, go down to the roots there and give it back to Mother Earth. And then some people there, they would even can stand in the wind. When it's really windy there, you ask the wind there to take away your hurts and the emotions there. So call it my church. So I can go out in the forest there and pray at my church out there. And our ancestors are out there. They're always watching us there, and they're always inside of me. So that's what I do.
There are a lot of people who have turned to your poetry for comfort, and I think for some strength over the course, certainly of this week and long before as well. I'm really grateful that you were generous enough to share some of that with us, and I'm grateful to have the chance to talk to you, Dennis. Thank you very much.
Everybody out there, take care of yourself, sir, and remember all those beautiful children. Thank you. Okay, Homer.
Dennis Saddleman is a survivor of the Kamloops Indian Residential School. You can find the audio of his poem Monster at cbc.ca/thecurrent and on Twitter at thecurrentcbc. And if you are struggling with this news or what we have talked about here, the Indian Residential School Crisis Line is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 1-866-925-4419.
For more CBC podcasts, go to cbc.ca/podcasts.